So slowly, first we targeted the leaders, the
Okay.
managers. And then
Okay.
when they came for the training program and the continuous training were happening for a week, and they found that training was very interesting.
But if there were one pivotal moment in your career which you could probably either go and change it or relive it differently, what would that be? Is there such a moment?
Welcome to Culture Cafe, a vibrant and inspiring podcast series brought to you by the Confederation of Indian Industry and Avtar, celebrating 25 years of shaping inclusive workplaces. In this milestone year, we bring you transformative conversations with leaders who are redefining workplace cultures. From boardroom wins to human movements that changed everything. These conversations are your backstage pass to how organizations thrive one connection at a time. In this episode, we have with us Dr. R Sangeetha, Group Head HR, Kirtilals, who delves into the interplay of culture and tradition in the backdrop of a family business.
Here's welcoming all of you to yet another episode of Culture Cafe, brought to you by the Confederation of Indian Industry in partnership with Avtar. And we at Avtar are celebrating 25 years of influencing workplace culture. And it's a fantastic time now to speak to an individual who has been with a company that in probably a decade or so is going to complete a full century of operations. I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled to invite to Culture Cafe Dr. R Sangeetha Ramankutti, Group Head HR for Kirtilals, Wispark, MKM, and SJK. Warm welcome, Dr. Sangeetha. It's a pleasure to have you with us here today at Culture Cafe.
I'm much delighted to be a part of this association of Culture Cafe, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You know, everywhere in Coimbatore, we turn or to whoever we speak to, you are the rock star. People, we hear about you from so many different forums. We are there in at NHRD, and you have actually been a leader. You've assumed a leadership role over there. We talked to ISTD, and you've spoken there, and you've won so many awards. So it's fantastic to have you there, to have you here with us, especially when you've been doing such fabulous work in a industry which is very different and rare. So let me begin with that. I want you to share with our viewers your journey at Kirtilals and the work in the culture space that you've done, and simply any thoughts that you may have about, having a strong and supportive work culture. Over to you, Sangeetha.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your warm welcome. So I definitely be interested to share with everyone the entire journey with Kirtilals, which started in the year 2000. So I would say
Wow.
my association with Kirtilals has been of 25 years long journey. I will try my best to summarize it in a brief entire journey. I joined Kirtilals in the year 2000 at a time when the organization was deeply rooted in traditional practices. And during that period, it had operated only with just two outlets. There is the flagship store in Coimbatore and another one in Chennai. So after working here for a couple of years, I realized that the management was focused on business growth and had plans to expand across India. So that's when I decided to pursue my MBA in HR, driven by my passion to grow professionally alongside the company's expansion journey. So, as the business gradually expanded across various regions, the management decided to establish centralized functions to support the growing retail operations. A corporate setup was created by then, bringing together all key departments, that is, key department and the functions like marketing, merchandising, design, with the support functions like HR, IT, finance, purchase, and projects, all operating from the corporate office. So, in the year 2005, the organization began hiring professionals from outside to introduce
Okay.
best practices and bring a more structured professional approach to the family run business. Key leadership roles such as head of marketing and the head of HR was brought in during that period.
Okay.
So then in the year 2006, I completed my MBA and was
Okay.
transitioned from the flagship store to the corporate office.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that's when I was placed under the guidance of the head HR, marking the beginning of my journey in human resource. From
Fantastic.
that point onwards, I began learning and actively contributing to the organization by helping establish the HR function under the mentorship of my head HR. So, this included introducing structured policies, procedures, setting up learning and development initiatives here, and implementing various other core HR activities across the company with the support definitely from the management. In the year 2012, I was inspired to pursue my PhD on the
Wow.
title A Study on HR Challenges towards Professionalizing Family Business Management that was related
Nice.
to the apparel and clothing industry in Tamil
Nice.
Nadu. So, with dedication and support, I successfully completed my doctorate in the year 2018. Throughout the journey, the management was consistently supportive for my learning and my self growth. So they have always believed in the culture of nurturing and elevating internal talent, prioritizing internal growth opportunities over external hiring whenever possible. So
Yeah.
now also they do that. So, although there were continuous challenges in driving the change, especially among long serving employees,
Mm.
I think you will be knowing,
Yeah.
to professionalizing the family business management. It was crucial those periods, but with the help and support of the management, we were able to make it up, the
Got it.
transition.
Got it.
Today, I lead the HR operations for the entire group with my team, supporting its diverse business growth across retail, jewelry manufacturing,
Mhm.
engineering, and other company divisions with a workforce over 1,750 employees.
Wow. Wow.
And I am very proud to say that I'm a Kirtilalite. I'm a part of family of Kirtilals.
Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, that was a beautiful story, Sangeeta. I mean, the way you were recounting it, I could see Sangeeta, the professional, growing like this. And I could see Kirtilals, the organization, kind of, growing and transforming like this. And this
Helping me
journey,
to grow. Yeah, helping me to
absolutely, absolutely. And kudos to you. I mean, I
thank
just love the fact that not only have you intentionally grown yourself. You made yourself ready to take on that challenge. From being a young novice, a young entry level professional who joins that company, to today being a PhD in HR and becoming the head of HR, I think that's just simply fantastic, Sangeeta. Big, big round of applause to you.
thank
Kudos to
you.
you. Folks, I'm sure, as you're watching this, you are as motivated and inspired as I am. I mean, here is a case study, literally, of a role model who has ensured that the organization's challenges are met by her transforming into a better version of herself. I mean, isn't that just amazing? Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Sangeeta. And now let me just ask you a slightly different question. Um, you brought up the topic of transitioning the organization from being a traditional one run, first of all, family owned, family run, to something that's professional. Still, obviously, the family is the most important thing, in the scheme of things, but it's now very professional. During the course of this transition, I'm sure there would have been some bold cultural stands that you had to take, because in your case, it is clearly a cultural transformation that you enabled for your organization. People might have even disagreed with you. People might have said, no, this is not how we do things here, or this is not what we do. How did you handle that? Could you share an experience like that?
So that's a great question. So I would say that during that period, which area I was finding it very difficult and challenging was like during when we started introducing the training for this transition, actually.
Okay.
So we didn't have that. All were long-serving employees, and then they didn't have that culture of like learning, or they all had grown along with the company inside, and they didn't have the exposure of having a training inside the organization during that period. So when we were thinking about handling them with the imparting them with the training and the knowledge, functional knowledge, and the soft skills, there was much resistance seen from not only from the participants, from the managerial level itself during those
Okay.
days. So slowly we made them understand. Couple of times when we had invited them for the training program in the corporate setup. So that was when like they were feeling their sales will get dropped if they are not here to attend the customers. All those kind of resistance were there. So slowly, first we targeted the leaders, the
Okay.
managers. And then
Okay.
when they came for the training program and the continuous training were happening for a week, and they found that training was very interesting
Yeah.
and fun learning. And that's how we were able to first capture their attention for training. And then they went and told their subordinates. And then they slowly started sending them. Now we just have to say, even before we say that about training, they say like it is the next training. That's how that culture changed.
Super, super. That's a great example. And I loved how you said that you first got the opinion leaders, the
Exactly.
folks whose opinions matter, the folks whose views actually kind of cascade down the organization. You first converted them, in a manner of speaking. So, great, great point, Sangeeta. Thank you for sharing that. You've had a exceptional career. You've stayed with the company, you have grown, you have learned along the way. I mean, it's super inspiring to see what you've done with your life and your professional career. But if there were one pivotal moment in your career which you could probably either go and change it or relive it differently, what would that be? Is there such a moment? Do you feel sometimes that, this I could have done differently, or I should have probably taken this decision? Is there something like that?
Yeah, I do have that kind of situation I had.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
So this was like during the Corona period, pandemic. So how it started was like the management wanted to introduce the task management system, which was linking
Okay.
with the variable pay. Till then, we didn't have such kind of a system like the performance linked to the variable pay. So for measuring that, we had to introduce not the yearly performance system; it was monthly performance system. That was task management system. So,
Okay.
what happens is like every month we have to, each and every individual has to list down the list of activities we are going to do that month. And end of the month, we have to put in the status, where we are in that list. So, that will be weighted by the senior management, so
Got
even
it.
the director. So during that period, we had to go through an exercise of arriving the KRAs with measurables that will, we had to automate it actually. If it
Mm.
is done manually, and that can be manipulated. So we were doing it like we were optimizing it, everything, the system driven culture. So what happened was each and every functional individual was feeling very unsafe during that time because their variable pay, their thinking was it was not,
Yeah.
or the management is feeling to cut down their variable pay. So then during that time initially, we were forcing them to do that. So then slowly, they didn't have any other option, so they had to do that. But later on, I understood that. Now they got used to it and they are into that culture. But later on, I understood that I could have changed a little bit during that time, talking to each one and convincing them to do this. But that was the decision taken by the management, and we had the timeline to introduce that. So it was all
Yeah.
like very forcefully done. So I was thinking that it could have taken a little time to make them understand it, even though now, like they feel it, they have got used to it and they are continuing it happily. So that part of time I thought I could have handled it in a different way.
Differently, differently.
Yeah.
How beautiful it is. You've actually explained how empathy really works. And
Ex-
you felt the insecurity of people who suddenly had to become accountable. Till now, they were doing tasks just like that, but now they are accountable for it, and there is a certain amount of pay that is linked to it, and how they would have felt. Some insecurity would have creeped in. And if that had been handled, or it had been, somebody could have foreseen this and done it, it would have been different. How beautifully you explained that, Sangeeta. I think by now the people would know that you are an empathetic leader and that the organization has empathy as one of its values, because the way that you described this incident and the fact that the performance management system is a success now, meaning today everybody is happy doing it, while at that time that discomfort was there. That was
Yes,
really
yes.
beautifully
Initially, we
explained.
had to pitch in,
Yeah,
and every month we had to tell them to
yeah.
do the task management system. But now we don't have to even remind
Yeah,
them to. It happens.
it happens automatically. It's now become part of the process.
Part of-
When you were talking about automation and you were talking about the fact that, whenever it is transactional, and automation does that, no? Technology kind of does that. It sometimes takes away the human aspect of it. So, I wanted to actually ask you, have you had a moment when tech has taken away some human aspects? Have you felt that, maybe even though technology speeds up things, automation speeds up things, today AI is going to really speeden up a lot of things. But then nothing like the human touch. Have you ever felt that way? And could you, share a time when something like that happened?
Um. Okay. This was during the transition period when everything was manually done. Even the attendance capturing and all these things were like manually done. People were very comfortable. So anytime they can go out, anytime they can come in, and any area they have to go, they don't have to inform
Yeah.
at all. So all those things were happening during this period. So we had a challenge in introducing the attendance system here in Kirtilals initially. So it was like the introducing the payroll system or attendance system that
Yeah.
during that period people were not ready to accept. They had to punch,
Yeah.
they have to give their face reading or biometric. So those period was really tough for us because end of the day it was linked to their salary and we had to convince each one. Otherwise, we can't reduce the salary also because they have not punched in. They will directly go to the management. So that kind of technological change and all these things to make them understand why it is necessary, which will make our work very easier. And we don't have to sit and manually calculate all these things, how long it will take for us to calculate each one because the company is growing, the employees' numbers are growing, and manually doing all these things in Excel and all these things were very difficult to make them understand. And that was the cream layer, the senior people who were like You don't trust us, so you make us punch. So all these kind of things were there initially when we introduced that system. Then over the period, they themselves understood the HR really required, because we are like looking into so many people, and everything happens manually. It will be very difficult, and there is a chance of errors when manually done. So incentives, calculation of payroll, all these things requires attendance. They understood. So definitely technology is helping us a lot to save our time and energy, and we were able to focus more on other things when this is automatically happening.
So,
So,
absolutely.
yes,
I can totally understand that. And, again, it goes back to, especially for a legacy business like Kirtilals, which is a I mean, you started in 1939.
exactly.
Imagine generations of people would be continuing to work, shop, experience a certain thing, expect a certain thing from you. It's like really, these changes would definitely take time. And you being at the forefront of it, being the person literally driving that change, I can totally imagine how it must have been for you. Another question very related to this, Sangeeta. See, whenever one thinks of, a jewelry business, one always imagines the artisans. I mean, I remember when, jewelry was being made for my wedding. My parents used to live in Pondicherry, and we used to have somebody who would actually come and make it in front of our eyes. They would actually come with their equipment and do that in front of our eyes, so that to that extent, artisans and the jewelry creators, everybody who's involved in that, it's a very human led, very people led, very creative sort of a process. um, Now, when a company like yours, like Kirtilals, transforms into becoming professional, becoming very, very managerial in a lot of things, with a lot of principles and focus and plans and so on, this inclusion of people like artisans, like people who are very core to your business, but then how do you get them to understand vision, mission, and values? Or how do you get them to kind of, really be part of the company culture? I mean, that's something you can imagine an MBA doing, or you can imagine an accounts person understanding vision, mission, values, culture, and so on. But a jewelry artisan, a creator, somebody who actually works on the whole making of the jewelry. How was that experience actually, Sangeeta? How did you manage to do that?
Okay, so I would say it all starts from the top management, from the
Mm.
managing director, the director. From that level onwards, it started. The sense of quality they focus on for the products. So that was always been, whenever they talk to our employees, it was always like that stands, quality stands first. And they say we have to always, if we need a loyal customer coming back again and again, just it can be only with the quality products what we deliver to them, and the other one is experience, what the customer experience they get when they step into Kirtilals.
Yes.
So these two factors always they have in their words whenever they speak to employees.
Mm.
So this actually from the base they have this thing in their mind, and the factory where we have got the manufacturing division in the corporate sector itself, we have got the same area. So what the employees do when they create, when they craft these jewelry, they'll have that mind. Always they say, okay, whenever they are called for a meeting or something, they say this. And I've heard many times they're saying this when they make the jewelry itself, they feel how this jewelry adorns a customer's neck
Yeah.
or the ear. So visualizing that, they start doing it.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
then when it gets sold, their piece, their craftsmanship, their done product, when it gets sold, then the salesman will inform that to the manufacturing,
Wow.
so that they all feel so good about it. And it is a motivating factor for them to again and again do the same kind of thing with the quality. So this is how it starts. And the product, when it gets sold, sales happens in the store, that we
Okay.
display it in the manufacturing unit also.
Oh,
So the
nice.
person who has done that really
Yeah.
feels so happy seeing that product. And we do the customer visit at the factory, and they are
Mm.
really surprised to see the how it is being done, each process, how it's been like very minute and with detail they do the manufacturing.
This feedback loop is so beautiful, Sangeeta. This is, where at the point of sale, the customers delight in buying that craft and then relaying it back to the craftsman and then coming back with new products, which, oh, this is so beautiful. This really shows why Kirtilals is the kind of great brand which has such big fans, whether in Chennai or Coimbatore. It's always something that people really flock to. This is really beautiful. Fantastic. Anything different or any unexpected or slightly offbeat ritual that you follow in the jewelry business or at Kirtilals or simply at your office? Anything very different?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I just wanted to share about you that. So
Okay.
yearly ones, like it's on December 12th.
Uh-huh.
We have got different category of awards for the front
December
end.
12th is what? Sorry, I didn't
December
hear that.
12th is Retail Employees Day.
December
It is
12th
retail
is the
retail
Retail Employees
employees
Day.
day.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
So
Ah,
everywhere all over the world we celebrate the Retail Employees Day.
wow.
But then it is for retail employees, but here it is not only for retail, but for the back office also, for the manufacturing and the corporate, everyone, because it all starts from the manufacturing. So we wanted to recognize them also. So that day, it is for our employees. We can't say that it is only for retail. We say it is for our employees.
Ah,
So we celebrate that day. We'll have every year the theme, a different theme. So that day we'll have the cake cutting and
oh,
celebration and all
nice.
those the whole year who has really performed well. And so almost like 14, 15 categories of awards based on their performance will be distributed everywhere and to the front end people and the back end people also. Even the support staffs also, we do that. And then during that period, like they really celebrate like it is a festival. So what we do is we didn't want it to be like as a regular routine thing to do, but we every year we wanted to make it a surprise. So I still remember that year I we with the team like planned to distribute the awards, and surprisingly their team their family members were called there
Wow.
during the distribution of those awards. And I still remember people calling me and telling them it was the precious moment. It was the moment to
I can
cherish.
imagine.
I never expected my family to be there, my mother, my wife, my kid, all people like standing before me when I was receiving the. Till then, they didn't know at all that we were called them. Like so, that moment they are really cherish now
Yeah,
also.
that's a very, very special moment. See,
Every
year
some
long, you work in a company and your family doesn't know what you do. And then you bring the family. It's really beautiful. Uh,
so
Sangeeta, Kirtilals is a name which is like almost a family name when it comes to jewelry, especially diamond jewelry. And in Coimbatore, you're like this homegrown brand. Now, you spoke so beautifully about what you do for your employees, for the artisans, for the jewelry craftsmen, and so on. I wanted to ask you, what does Kirtilal do beyond your workplace, beyond your company, into the community? Could you share that, please?
Yes, ma'am. There's so many things they do, but in that, I just wanted to quote which happened during the COVID pandemic
Uh-huh.
period. To say that during the COVID pandemic period, while the entire industry grappled with uncertainty, what truly stood out was the way our employees, guided by our core values of empathy, service, and solidarity, stepped up to support frontline workers and vulnerable communities.
Wow.
So, without any formal directive, like we didn't direct them to do this or that, from the showroom side also, and the corporate teams also, voluntarily they came together to organize food kits, masks, and essential supplies
Nice.
for municipal workers, local hospitals, and daily wages earners. So that was a fantastic thing our employees did during those periods. With the active support of the management, these things happened, but then it was not the director from the management. They themselves took the ownership of doing it. And then further, management provided further support, providing assistance for the hospitalization, medical needs, not just to the employees or customers, but to all those people who were in need and who referred. Any person can like approach us, they'll be helped out. So actually, this spirit of compassion and action reflects what we have always believed at Kirtilals. When someone is in need, we don't wait to be asked. We step
Oh,
up and
nice.
stand by them. So
Nice.
culture is still there. Kirtilals.
Beautiful, beautiful. Folks, all of you who have been listening to this amazing podcast, I mean, I'm sure you're as inspired as me because here is a real homegrown story of an organization rooted to its values, actually, in a business that is very closely tied with tradition, with beauty, with craftsmanship, and making that very, very nice change, that transformation, you know, into a professional company. And we have with us here Dr. Sangeetha, who has actually been part of that entire arc, that entire development arc she has been a part of. And Sangeeta, listening to you today, share your experience, also share some very frank and very, very, honest thoughts about the challenges that you faced, how you went about, even things like, what you could have done differently. This has been such a pleasure. This has been such a pleasure. And all of us at Avatar, we wish you and we wish Kirtilals the very best in the future ahead. And we really hope that this work of yours and whatever you've shared really reaches a lot of smaller organizations which want to make this change. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ma'am.
Sangeeta.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a bunch. And until the next episode of Culture Cafe, here's me signing off and thanking our guest for the day, Dr. Sangeetha, Head of HR for Kirtilals, Wispark, MKM, and SJK. Thank you, everyone, and take care.